Geneva, Switzerland, Billionaire, book series, signing. Okay. Welcome those of you joining us on Instagram. We are reviewing a couple of the books today here in. If you can hear me, for those of you joining me, kindly indicate I can hear you. I just want to be sure. Those of you on Instagram can hear me well. So if you can hear me very well, those of you on Instagram, kindly type I can hear you, so that we can carry you guys along as well. Okay. If you can, just type I can. Okay, those of you on IG, please type I can. Just want to be sure you're here. Okay, good. Can see some of you are here. So the first book I'm going to be reviewing is the Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. The Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. That's the first book. And I have in chapter 8, for those of you who are in chapter 8, I talked about keep manufacturing. You have a quote here that says, you've decided to be a producer, manufacturer, and world changer. The people who shape the world are producers. So people are categorized into two. Either you're a producer, the same as manufacturer anyway, or you're a consumer. Okay? And nations are also categorized based on this. Right? Switzerland, for example, produce more than she consumes, and that's why she's one of the wealthiest nations in the world. Of course, you wouldn't expect Switzerland to have been in that position, because Switzerland has a lot of deficit. They don't have natural resources, they don't have all of these things, but they were clever enough to turn things around for themselves, to be producers rather than consumers. So you as a business, as an entrepreneur, you have to know that your mark all the time is to ask yourself, how much production am I doing compared to my consumption? So those of you here now, you're in Geneva, the question you ask yourself is, well, I am consuming transportation, right? If you have a car, you pay for gas. Can you leave the sacks? Just focus on this train. That's what's important, not the sacks. So I'm a producer. I'm a consumer, or I'm a producer. So you are consuming gas. If you don't have your own vehicle, you are consuming either bus or train or whatever mode of transportation, consumption, right? You are consuming telecommunication, data, buying data. You are consuming rent. You're paying rent, right? If you're a student, you are consuming education, right? By paying for your master's or your PhD. So you can see all this list of consumption. Question: what are you producing? Right? And I understand that the typical conversation from time, but I'm a student, there's a limited work hour. But is there a limited entrepreneurship attempt? No. I don't know whether you understand how we think. Because every country I visit, and when I meet a lot of Africans in those countries, and diaspora, the first thing they tell me, Dr. Stephen, we're a student here, there's a limit to how many hours I can work, there's a limit to this, there's a limit to that. And I'm like, I think they were right to say you need to finish, because the degree is so that you get a job. If you put all your energy trying to keep going to work, you even concentrate on the school. So that makes sense. But there's no limit to you owning business. You being an entrepreneur. And in fact, the Western world has been wired such that the genius in their world evolve on campus. Which is why you always hear, oh, Mark Zuckerberg was a dropout. Bill Gates was a dropout. Elon Musk dropped out during, I think, his PhD too. Right? Why? These guys, even though they were in school, they started the businesses they were doing. At a point, they realized that, look, this degree I'm even chasing is useless. I'll never need it. So what am I doing here? They then, of course, drop out of school and focus on the business. So if you are really serious about wanting to evolve into who you really need to be, then the real answer is, can you become a producer right now? What can you start producing here in Switzerland that people need? Right? What can you produce? What are the solutions? Don't worry, you can pick from my IG. I don't like people, we have multiple recordings. But you can download the one that I'm doing on IG. So, the question is then, what are you producing? Right? What can you do right now that is adding value to the economy of Switzerland? And I've said this over time. This is part of the problem why it then look at what's happening in the UK. We're not far from London. It looks as if they are constantly bringing laws to limit our people, right? To restrict our people, right? Why are they doing that? Because our people are consuming more than they are producing. Why are they not doing the same to India? India is way more than Nigerians in terms of population, right? So why are they not doing that? You could say maybe it's racism, partly so, but partly also that as much as there are a lot of Indians looking for a job, there are also a lot of Indians trying to start a business, including the UK Prime Minister, who company is said to be richer than the King of England. Yeah, because he was managing a fund that is worth billions, of pounds. Am I making sense at all? Which is part of the reason they gave him the job. Because, if you could figure out how to build this kind of fund here in this same UK that is so difficult, and you're a son of an immigrant, then maybe you can use that brain to bail out the UK from the economic hardship she's going through. So, but we on the other hand, we migrate to these countries, and from day one we are complaining. I remember some Nigerians told me that, what some Emiratis used to tell them when they complain is that go back to your country, go back, Kalas. Shobi, you are complaining about our country. Your own country that is better, go back. But I think it's because we are constantly not realizing that the world rank nations, individuals, companies based on these two laws. Are you producing more, or you are consuming more? If you consume more, you are lower. If you produce more than you consume, you are rated higher. And this is how the world is wired, generally in the world. So as an entrepreneur, I have to constantly ask myself, how do I become a producer in this economy? Yes, it will take some mental work. Please don't get it twisted. This will take more mental work. In fact, that's what it will take. Right? More mental work. This will take more physical work, being a consumer. Right? Because even the process of trying to consume still takes some of your time. Right? And energy and physical exertion. But to be a producer, there's a lot of mental work. You sit down and say, okay, I'm in Switzerland. First of all, what's the population of Switzerland? Second of all, what are the various needs? You can even Google top 10 things Switzerland residents need, but they don't have. You will see it on Google, I can assure you that. Then you start asking yourself, okay, so which of these, how can we then provide it? Where is it existing? You keep thinking. Yes, regulations are many that you and I cannot deny, but that's part of the mental work. who do I partner with, right? Who can help me overcome the regulation? Maybe the person is a Swiss native, maybe his father is highly connected. Because oftentimes I get people, I think one of the mistakes I made personally, and I admit this, was when at the beginning of starting to travel international and then running business outside of Nigeria, I made a mistake of thinking that it's only in Nigeria that we know matters. You understand? You know that's the typical thing we tell ourselves in Nigeria. Oh, all this man, no man, only in Nigeria. If you go other country. What I later realized is, if you are the lower end, employee, consumer, yes, the system is equal. But if you suddenly become a producer and you are now trying to reach at the top, suddenly, look, listen, who you know matters. The lawyers you know matters. The accountants you know, the bankers you know, the PR guys you know, the people in politics you know, matter when you're in diaspora. If you are going to play at the top. Yes, they've done it. It's like a pyramid. And I think, give it to them. The lines are blurred in those parts of the world. You don't see it. The pyramid is not that obvious. If you live in Dubai, it's not as obvious that, hey, okay, there are certain people who are privileged because the train station is general for everybody. Electricity is general for everybody. You know, some basic things of life are general. So we quickly then assume that, oh, it's a balanced system. You start a business, you now know it's not balanced. Right? You will now know. Because a non-Emirati running a business in Dubai, and somebody just called the police and say something has happened, you'll be shocked that the police will show up ASAP. An Emirati will call the police, an Emirati-owned company. An external person could call the police on the Emirati-owned company. Once they check, oh, it's owned by Emirati, it's a proof that that thing happened. Do you see? Now, even among the Emiratis as well, there is levels as well. The one that is related to the sheikh, the one that is related to... Suddenly, I realized that, look, even the Dubai is meant for the sheikh and those who are in his interest. But again, why are we not seeing all of these things? Most of us are not thinking production. Right? Let me go to Switzerland. I'll get a job. If I do my master's, maybe I'll get a job. And some of us carry a entitlement mentality as if somebody in Switzerland came to Nigeria and told you that if you come, you get a job. Same thing we're doing in the UK. As if they promised you. Nobody said that. The way they painted is as if they are doing you a favor, giving you the job, giving you the education. That's the way they painted it. And guess what? Their media is also all out to paint your own educational system as bad. That's why tomorrow you hear that, lecturer for Mark. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It was Nigeria they started pushing those narratives. You see it on BBC, isn't it? How come suddenly you started hearing the same about Ghana? Because Nigerians started rushing to Ghana, right, to study. So once they started those publications by BBC, how many Nigerians are going to Ghana? Right? Because, but again, all these things we're not conscious of. So if you want to, the habits of entrepreneurs, and that's what we're looking at, billionaire habits for entrepreneurs, is that they are conscious. I must be a producer. I must be a producer. I cannot be a consumer. Even coming to Switzerland is that same mindset I carry. So I could have come to Switzerland and say, okay, I'm just doing vacation. Do you see? But no. Okay, I'm doing 2 papers, and then I'm doing book signing. Oh, whoever shows up, at least I have produced something. Within the 1 week I stayed in Switzerland. Do you see the mindset now? Okay, so now I can leave Switzerland and say I produced 3 things. 2 papers, 1 book signing, right? And that becomes a product in itself. This video now will be on YouTube. A lot more people will watch it, right? Those of you who are here as well, you are impacted. One day you say, oh, I was at Dr. Stephen's event. In fact, talking about production, my wife was just chatting me up while we were here that because there's a whole team, a lot of people don't know that we have a whole 17 to 20 people who manage my brand. Okay? I'm traveling, coming here now. I didn't book my ticket. Somebody, yes, Stephen Akintayo alone is managed by 17 to 20 people. Some people are in charge of website. Some people are in charge of content. So while I'm here now, they will have posted 3 contents on my pages. Some people will think it's me, but it's not me. Right? We're about 4 who manages my account. There are people in charge of writing my articles and correcting and editing, and so on and so forth. Different people, different roles. Right? So part of what they do as well is to go for events and where I'm speaking with my books so that people can learn. So the company, is different. Got a stand, the real estate arm, to market during Shiloh and this Holy Ghost event in Redeem. Right? So one of the leaders in the organization said, okay, you manage the Bacterial brand, people too should come now and post some of his books, sell some of his books. They were like, who will know us? So only for my wife to be sending a message that they were all shocked. Once they see Silver, really? Huh? The books they sold is over $1,000, right? In the 2 locations. People are even giving testimony and be following the man. He's just production. Right? So we must think of it. I think the challenge I'm giving you guys here is that make up your mind from today that I will not go to bed every night until I produce something. My production could be an article. My production could be a video that I'm teaching somebody something. Right? My production could be a new website where I'm selling certain types of clothes. Even if it's clothes made in Africa. My production could be anything. I don't care what it is. But I will not go to bed except I'm a producer. Can we shout, I'm a producer?
I'm a producer.
Okay? So number 2, under billionaire habits for entrepreneurs. Okay? I see you guys on IG. Well done. Number 2 is, and this is very, very critical, and that is multiple businesses versus multiple investments. So this one I will ask you a question on this. Multiple businesses versus multiple investment. So those of you on IG2, I need your answer. Which one should I go for?
I'll say you should go for multiple investment.
Multiple investment is your choice. The question is why? Why?
So for me, with the mindset of building wealth, I would say multiple businesses will require more, maybe physical, of course, maybe mental strength too. But then multiple investments is like is like a seed where it gets to multiply even without you having to exert physical or some level of mental strength. Like a multiple business. So I would probably say more you go for maybe have a business, quite alright, but then have multiple investments.
Fantastic. And I think you've made the right call. Chika says I go for both. Bola Late says multiple investment. Now, for those of you who say multiple investment, you are very correct. And I think, again, this part of the habits we're talking of for entrepreneurs. Most entrepreneurs' biggest weakness is that you are late for my meeting. I hate lateness, honestly. I'm a Swiss man. Forget this cake color. Right? But welcome, good to have you.
Thank you. Apologies.
So,
Stuck in traffic.
multiple investment is far better than multiple businesses, and this is the major challenge in Africa. In fact, this is the reason why a lot of so-called entrepreneurs in Africa are still poor. Because it's a rat race of how many more businesses can I open, right? Meanwhile, for any business, let's assume, I mean, and I think sometimes we're arrogant with that, I'm CEO of so. And there's no money in big CEOs, and there's no money coming out of it, right? So, and I think that's what the Western world is achieved better than us. You don't see people glorify, I'm a CEO. Some people are better off, I'm a co-founder, right? I joined the original guy who had the idea. I supported him, but I was among employee number 2, employee number 3. You know, and until we get back to that, we will not build great businesses in Africa. Because, and I'll tell you why this is important. There are 4 ways you make money, and I only share this in my training, right? You know, employee, right? E for employees, right? You make money being an employee. How many of you employees here? You know, employee. Technically, you are if you're a student. You have to be one. So, those of you are student, employee, you know, you self-employed, then business owner, no, investor, business owner. What's the difference between business owner and self-employed?
Self-employed, no, I didn't have self-employed. I'm self-employed, just me.
You see, part of our problem, huh? Now, typically, many of us who call ourselves business owners are not business owners. You're self-employed. Because until, like me, you can be in Switzerland, right? And the whole team is pushing your brand in some event in Shiloh, some event in Redeem, and practically people are doing business with you while you're not there, while you're in another place. You really haven't evolved, right? So for you to get into the business level, you have perfected systems where the business can run with or without you. Okay? And guess what? This takes years. For me, it's about 16 years now, almost 16 years on this journey. So I love where I say African entrepreneurs. Oh, CEO, so company, you know, executive, founder, chairman, and all of that. And in reality, no money. And guess what's funny about this thing? You are worse than an employee. Just that you have a big ego. Because an employee still has something guaranteed. Every month, something is still coming in. You don't even have any personal income guaranteed. And yet, if you have 1 or 2 staff working for you, they still will be able to blackmail you that you did not pay them. And start calling all your relatives. Who has been there? I have been there many times. Right? Where I would have to explain it. I say, ask it, we did not make sale. There was no money. It wasn't a case of the company made money and I refused to pay them. They say, no, but they said some terrible things about you. They did this, they did. Meanwhile, the guy was probably always late. He never even did the job well. But that's the life of an entrepreneur. And you sign up for it. And you are at the beginning of it. And you're deceiving yourself that you're at the end. So, entrepreneurship, owning a business will take a longer time. Will take a lot of resources. So, here, your time, and then they give you money, right? Self-employed, your time, your money. Okay? Here, limited time, right? And in many cases, your money is no longer involved. Because you are now leveraging on something we call OPT and OPM, right? Other people's, right? Other people's money, right? So when you understand that this is a whole long journey, now I am not asking you not to do it. After all, I'm an entrepreneur myself, but you don't now want to start too many businesses together. Rather, what you want to do, start more investment and have few businesses. Right? Why? In this investment quadrant, you only put your money once. Okay? And you begin to produce fruit, like she said. She was very right. You put in money once, and it continually generates income for you, isn't it? Now, but if you are here, you know, yes, like I said, you also almost benefit what this person is doing. In fact, at some point, you will resign. This year now, I resigned being group CEO of our company. I'm now the chairman. It's a technical strategy to come here. Okay? And I'm putting pressure on a lot of my CEOs and say, if anybody mention my name about this company again, some of you will be fired. Right? Because you are now here to carry that burden. My own is to sit down and say, how much profit did you people make? Right? And how much of that is mine? That is really my new role now. Is this making sense to talk? Now, rather than begin to open more companies, one of the strategies I'm going into now is called venture building. VB, another word some of you call VC. Okay? Can I start mentoring more entrepreneurs? Are we together now? Buy equity in their business. We launch a $5 million fund for SMEs where we're giving small businesses $5,000 to support their business. So that is a way to support them. And some of them who are now doing well, what happened? I can say, okay, maybe I should put in 100,000. What's the equity I'm getting? Right? And before you know it, my goal is that in the next 10 years, I probably have more than 10,000 businesses like that. Literally 10,000 CEOs under the entire group. Are we learning? But what do most of us do? No, you go and start 10,000 businesses. Are we learning here? Huh? Is this helpful?
Yes.
Latecomers, you've missed a lot. I don't do African time. Huh? And don't tell me it was traffic. That's the... Oh, Jesus. Thank God you are not working for me. You will be fired. That, once you mention traffic, that gets me more angry. Because you should have been proactive enough for the traffic. Like calculate, averagely, I tell people, target being there before the time. Right? And this helps your own self-esteem. It's not even for them. If so, yes, put it on Google Map. It will tell you distance from capital to here is 1 hour. I'm just giving an example. And then you tell yourself if the distance is 1 hour, I need to leave 2 hours early. Right? So that I'm at the venue, right, way ahead. And it's a thing we Africans have to work on. Because it's become a culture globally. And we've been known for it. And unfortunately, I tell you how white people look at this. And this has earned me a lot of business opportunities, just this culture. So if you can get it, you don't know how it will change your life. The way white people look at it is that your ability to keep to time speaks about your character. I may not have known you for long. This may be the first time we're meeting, right? But what can give me an assurance that I can rely on you? That I can bank on you? If you're telling me to come and invest, what guarantees that I will get my money back as when you said it? The litmus test is your being early. So you can judge a man's character. Now, sometimes people are early and they still have bad character. I'm not, but the smallest way to even guess that, okay, I'm meeting this person for the first time, but can I guess his or her character? Is that they are, it also speaks about how proactive they are. Because naturally, things don't go according to plan. So we know nobody expected it to rain today. Nobody expected, and of course, because it rained, it will affect traffic. A lot of people can't see properly, so they're driving a lot slower. All of that. But that's the way life works. That's the way entrepreneurship works. Nothing works as planned. Nothing. I'm still thinking about it. Do I do a small podcast about what my eyes have seen this year? Okay? I practically wanted to bring that to tears this morning just thinking about this year. It's been the best year in terms of growth and expansion, but it's been the most terrible year. I have never faced the kind of betrayal I faced this year in business. Never. I mean, if I go on and on, and I'm like, oh boy. And the question for me is like, is this how it's going to be? Is this what I should be expecting? Is this the dimension of betrayals I should be expecting going forward? Obviously, it's going to crush my heart. Okay? Are we learning?
Yes.
Are we sure we're happy being here?
Yes.
Huh?
Absolutely.
So, multiple businesses versus multiple investment. My argument, go for multiple investment. Nothing wrong with having businesses and having one or two, nothing wrong. But don't make it like a competition of how many businesses can I own. Rather make it a competition of how many businesses can I invest in. Yeah, there are risks to investment, and when you read the book, I talked more about how to mitigate your risk, a whole lot around that. So that's, if we go into that, we will not even get to it. We'll have 3 more books to review, right? But that should be your thinking. How do I invest? More investment, more businesses I can co-own, more businesses I can be a co-founder of. A lot of you are students here. The question is, a lot of your colleagues on campus, who among them is thinking entrepreneurship? Not who is the most brilliant, right? Because I can assure you, you have overrated your degree. This is your master's and PhD people are doing. Right? You're also a student. Student. So only him is not a student. PhD student. Okay? So these things are overrated. And you will soon discover. So I'm not asking you not to get a good degree, please get it. But be looking at those guys who are thinking, oh, I want to do a business, I want to start a business. Find a way to become a co-founder with the guy. There might be more future in that than the degree. That may be what will guarantee you have a job after that degree. At least in this part of the world. Is this making sense at all?
Yes.
Okay. So those of you who came late, I'm streaming it online so you can go watch the part I've missed. The next book I'm going to talk about is called The Billionaire Habits. Okay? And by the way, each of the book goes for 47, is it? What's it called? Swiss francs. Okay? But I'll allow you getting for 30 for each, and if you're getting the entire 4, I'll give you for just 100. Okay? And I encourage you to get it. Typically our problems are, it's expensive. Well, guess what? I'm standing here before you because of a book. I read it at the age of 17, 18. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I would have been one of the most miserable human beings on earth if I did not read Dad, Poor Dad. Because it was that book, and I was I just even finished secondary school, right? You call it high school here, right? When I saw that book, and that was the book that changed my life. Because then I realized that if I really want to be rich and financially free, it's not in more degrees. It is in entrepreneurship. Right? Because the story of the man, and it was funny because what the man said was totally different from what my mom told me. So I was born into a very poor family. My mother was a civil servant. And we used to go borrow money from neighbors to go to school. So I remember one of those meetings, I was very angry because we begged for the money, but the neighbor didn't borrow us. And the way they looked at my mother, the way they looked at me, I was extremely angry. And I remember asking my mom, why are we poor? Why are we having to go and do this and be begging for money? I was extremely angry. And she said, oh, it was because I didn't have a school degree. Say, that's why I want you to go to school. If you can get a school degree, you'll get a good job and you'll be okay. That's what my mom told me. Now, I was reading a book of a gentleman called Robert Kiyosaki, whose father has PhD, and they were not rich. And then his best friend's father did not even have a master's, and they were richer. In fact, even his PhD dad used to tell him, because one day he was young, he said, Dad, how do I make money? He said, well, you can go and ask your best friend, and he seems to be rich. Me, I'm a school teacher, I don't understand this money thing. Right? And so, reading that book, I got to realize that what my mom told me isn't going to bail us out. And that she's way far behind in her days. The more degree you have, the higher your chance of, being promoted and you'll be financial. That was our day, but the world has since changed. That was the industrial era. And we're no longer in the industrial era. Are we together now? Yes. So a book like this can change your course here in Switzerland. And I can assure you, if you read them, not just if you buy them, you might end up being one of the richest immigrants that Switzerland has ever seen. If you read and you act on what you have been able to go through. But that's your choice. I can't force you to read it, right? It's still going to be your decision. So number 2 book, Billionaire Habits. And I share here the secrets billionaires use, to build wealth that poor people do not use. Now, the first part I want to discuss is on something called, how many of you have heard this word? All you need is smart work, not hard work. Okay? How many of you believe it? That what you need for wealth is actually smart work and not hard work. How many of you believe it? Those of you on IG, please join us. If you believe it, type it as well. So you believe it? Who else believe it?
I believe it.
You believe it? You believe it? You believe it? You don't believe it?
No, I believe it.
But you didn't raise your hand.
No, I didn't.
Okay, because I want to hear. So let's start with you. Why do you believe it?
I think working smart will help you to maximize your time, maximize your resources, and not just working hard. Yeah, so it's smart helps you to maximize your resources, maximize your time, and many other things. So you.
But haven't you seen smart people who are poor? Give of each of the yeah. Haven't you seen smart people who are poor? I've seen a lot of smart people who are not rich. In fact, the Bible says the wisdom of the wise, the wisdom of a poor man is despised. Right? Yes, you want to, please talk to me. I want to hear your opinion.
Well, for me, I believe it because sometimes when you are working too hard, you miss out on like working too hard. You're just focused on that, and you're not really thinking of ways that maybe could help you do that project you're doing better.
Yeah.
Your mind is not really like open to new ideas. You're just like, okay, let's do this and I must finish this now.
So more of activity
yes.
that are not leading to productivity, right?
Yes.
So here is my argument, and I'll make it very simple. Hard work will earn you a living. In other words, you can work so hard enough to earn 100,000 Swiss francs. So that's how far hard work will take you. Now, smart work will make you a millionaire. Smart work, can make you a millionaire. There's no guarantee it will, but it can make you a millionaire. Right? But hear this. How many of us know that being a millionaire is overrated. In the current world we are in today, rate of inflation, the way things are going globally, how many of you agree with me? Huh? That being a millionaire is overrated. In fact, there's no guarantee in the next few years that being a millionaire will make you financially free. And I mark my word today, the way the world is going, a time will come. You're a multi-millionaire in dollar. You're a millionaire in dollar, but you're still poor. You don't understand. Because inflation, tax. First of all, yes, you have $1 million, but 50% of that will have gone in tax. So you now have 500,000. Now, the cost of the house you live in, food, your car, your bills, that's where the world is going. Millionaire in dollars. You even make millions in dollars. The way the world is going, you make $1 million a year, dollars. You will still be poor. The way the world is going. So, because this is the mistake many of us. I'll give you an example. How many of you are from Africa? Those who are from Africa, but how many of you can say maybe your parents are poor? You know, I'm one. My parents are poor. Africa. Now, how many of you, when speaking to your parent, they rewind back to a time they felt they were not poor? Obviously, maybe you were not born, or you were just born that time. Who remembers? Right? Yeah. Now, how many of you, now that I'm analyzing this, realize that their mistake was that their goal was too low? It was okay as at where they were as at that time, but they didn't know they would need to send you to a private school in Switzerland that needs 15. How much do you guys pay? 25,000? 39,000 Swiss francs. You can't forget that. It's still paying you. Right? So, your parents, and they never imagine that 29,000 Swiss francs is an equivalent of 30 million in their days. You even having 100,000 naira, because it was 1-to-1, was a lot. Inflation was low. Things were, I'm not making sense at all. Most of you are about to make the same mistake. Oh, all I need is 200,000 pounds or Swiss francs, and I'm okay. And that's just my goal. So people ask me, why is it important to you that people become billionaires? I say, because where the world is going, if they are millionaires, they will still be poor people. So they better wake up. Now, unfortunately, smart work is not what makes you a billionaire. Some of the richest people in the world aren't that smart. Hence, hard work, and this is my quote. So anywhere you hear it, tell them it's Dr. Stephen's quote, let them not steal it.
Hard work.
Plus smart work, plus network equals billionaire. Or financial freedom, or wealth, or whatever tax you want to prepare. So what I realize is that motivational speakers overhype the fact that you don't need hard work. And that's not true. That is not true. Listen, I'm leaving here Monday. I'm back to London. I need to plan for my event on Saturday. I'm back to Houston. I have a open house for our Houston property on the next Saturday following. Literally, Christmas, New Year, I'm having a major conference, founders conference in Houston. I'm literally working throughout the holiday. Okay? Yes, the work is not physical, like lifting of bricks. Am I making sense at all? But I'm still having to sleep lesser hours. There are more mails to look at. There are more documents to look at. There are more things to write up. There are more things to come up with. It's constantly work. So let nobody deceive you that, oh, you know, it's just smart work. Oh, just use your brain. You won't need to put in much. That's not true. Right? You will still need to exert. It could be having to read more, having to write more, having to come up with. I mean, a lot of young people admire Stephen Akintayo, but they just have no clue how much it costs to be who I am. So, hard work plus what? Smart work plus what?
Network.
And this one I discovered recently. I used to have many times, oh, I just need, okay, maybe I'll just do hard work plus smart work. But trust me, after 15 years of running business, working hard and being smart,
It's not enough.
I realized that that's just not enough. Guys, trust me. It's not going to cut it. You know, if I keep going this way, now it's going to take a longer time. Yeah. So it dawned on me that something was missing, and it's called network. So, which is the biggest mistake a lot of us as Africans make? How do I mean? When you are meeting someone, your priority is what they can give you rather than your priority being keeping the relationship. Oh, are we learning something here? Which is usually where we miss it. Because the relationship being intact. Okay, I'll give a practical example. There was a lady who started a business, and it was to help young graduates to like postgraduate training, just employability program. She felt it was needed because a lot of people were coming out of university and they were not getting jobs. They just didn't even understand work ethics, a lot of basic stuff. So she's written proposal, nobody will attend to her, nobody will do anything with her. And so one day she met a woman called Ibuku Oshika, right, former chairman of First Bank. And Mrs. Ibuku said, okay, I will help you, but not with money. Put my name, Ibuku Oshika, chairman of your company, and go submit those proposals.
Wow. Hey.
Suddenly, the same places she dropped proposal, no call back, suddenly they were calling back.
Wow.
Hello, we saw your proposal. Can you come in to make presentation?
Hey. Wow.
Now, do you agree with me that an average person will look at me and say, Buka, and say, she's rich, she's this, she's that. If she can maybe support me with maybe 10 million to, support the business. How far will 10 million have taken the woman? Do you see the point? Meanwhile, she was able to raise a lot more money. Hey, Mama Africa, good to see you. Meanwhile, she was able to raise a lot more money. Are we together now? Just using Ibuku Oshika's name. And this is where we're missing it as Africans. We value money more than relationship. And the habits here, billionaire habits, one of the biggest thing I'm trying to help you to understand is that relationship is more important than money. It's more important. We have an African proverb, right? That somebody saw prestige, network, influence, and says, no, I'm looking for money. When he gets the money, what will he use it to buy? Who knows that?
Yes.
I mean, who knows that Yoruba, if you can call it here? Tabalowo Ilafira. Right? Is this making sense at all? Which is the mistake we make. So, as Africans, we're chasing money. Now, when you even get the money, what will you still use the money to get? It's still this relationship, it's still this network. Because a lot of people don't even understand. I mean, it's now that I begin to realize that, how powerful is relationship, Jesus. Jesus! Oh, I would have been messed up if not for certain relationships. I remember a challenge we had in our business, right? And, somebody was about writing something damaging about us. Of course, they were all lies. But before we will now go and be defending and say, this was a lie, it's not true. I mean, the damage will have been done. Right? My lawyer, being a very powerful person, just made a phone call and the entire thing was stopped. Okay, now imagine you are bragging that, I have made, let's say, $10 million, right? Suddenly, they mess up your reputation. It took you almost the same $10 million to clean up your name. On what's a relationship with somebody, are we together now? Yeah. Would have just sorted it out. Are we learning here? Yes. But those of you who are students, please let your priority while you're here in Geneva be building relationships. Ask yourself, who are the head of all these big multilateral corporations who are here in Geneva? Right? Have you thought of sending them a Christmas gift with a beautiful letter? With some cheap gift from Africa? It could be an Ankara. It could be, so it's not about money, because sometimes we feel these things is about money. Right? I think the World Court, is it here? The World Court. Huh? Netherlands.
Okay.
Right? I remember a story of somebody who went to university together, and he's always wanted to work at the World Court. And yes, international. Yeah. And of course, studied law, and he just, I think they also have like a school or something, a program that he could do that would have made it easy for him. But number one, the money was expensive. Number two, you have to be nominated. The whole thing, and he was just, nobody knows him from Africa. And learning this principle, my friend told him, he said, you will get this thing done, understanding the power, habits of rich people. So here's what we'll do. We'll go to Abeokuta. Abeokuta is the capital of a state in Nigeria. They have a local attire called Kampala, Adire. Right, so we'll get this Adire. Let's guess at the woman's body size, and they got a tailor to sew a beautiful African Adire for the woman. With a note, and the guy wrote his story. I've been studying you. You are the something institution of World Court something. Mention some cases she has attended to, how we admire her judgment. Broke down.
Wow.
And then with the clothes, send it to this woman. 2 weeks later, guess who called? She was just, have we met before? She was just shocked that somebody from Nigeria will send all of that and will be studying and guess after the whole thing, the next question came, the one I love the most. How can I help you? How many of you have heard that word before? How many of you have done something to people that they followed it up with that word? If you have not done much of that, you have work to do. You must master these habits of billionaires. And I've done it several times. I met the former president of Nigeria using the same model. Right? Built my relation, not meeting him. Meeting is another thing. Building relationship.
Meet and take pictures.
Another thing. I built my relationship with a former president using the same thing. Like today now is anything. In fact, last time we had a meeting, he said anything that is coming from this man is done. Consider it done from me. Anything. You must understand that. The man said, what? The woman said, well, how can I say I've always wanted to study in this institute? He said, give me some weeks. Wrote a recommendation. cut the long story short, he went to the institute and I think he's working at the World Cup now. Everybody shouts, network.
Network.
So, don't forget the formula. Hard work plus smart work plus network equals $1 billion. Well, you read more in the book. Right? Now, on the network, number 2 thing I want to share about the book, then I move to the third book. Still on the network. And I talk about it in page 25. Think win-win. Now, why is it difficult? Hard work, it says about self-will, isn't it? We're looking at billionaire habits, billionaire habits. Okay? No, this one.
The secret of governance.
Yeah. So, page 25, you see win-win relationship. Win-win. So, hard work, yeah, you have control, isn't it? Do we agree? You have control over whether you work hard or not, right? Smart work, do you agree you have control? Because smartness is a function of knowledge, right? And when you process it over time, you become quite intelligent. Do we agree?
Yes.
Now, the one that seems to don't have control over is what? Do we agree?
Yes.
But this number one ingredient to building great network is called what? Win-win relationship. And that is always the problem. I have always seen people, even the same thing happened to me. Once they read my profile, the next thing people are thinking of, what they were supposed to charge me a normal fee, they inflated. Once my profile is read, I've been wondering what's chilling here. The window is cold. Right? Are we together now? Once they mention my name, oh, the guy is a billionaire in Nigeria, he's doing real estate. What they will have charged 10,000, and they say, no, it's not 50,000. And I see it from artists to name it. And you know why they do that? They don't understand this law. Because in reality, they can still make more than that 10,000 Swiss francs from me if they build a relationship. There's still more. I'm not making sense at all. But because they're not thinking win-win, they will take the first one, but they won't get the second one. And they won't get the third. And the relationship ends there. So anytime you are trying to approach a network, a great relationship, ask yourself, what will I bring to the table that will make this man or woman to want to connect with me after today? And if you can just master this principle, the rest is history. What do I bring to the table? And don't tell me I'm a student. Don't tell me, I'm a poor person. Don't tell me, who will. No, everybody brings something to the table. Every mortal man has something to offer. Don't tell me you don't have something to offer. Don't tell me that. And it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about care. I know a billionaire in dollars that I built relationship with. Okay? And the model I used was just care. He had lost his wife. Right? I remember Googling, what do you give somebody that lose their wife? Right? And then I went, led prayers with him, brought gifts, got certain health, and at that point, of course, he affected blood pressure. It was a lot for him. And all those herbal tea I brought, how much were they? They were not even up to $1 million. But I won his heart. If I remember, recently I had a meeting with the person. And he was not telling me another very, very successful person has been trying to see him. Somebody I reversed so that, in fact, that relationship, if I even get the opportunity to meet that person, it's a privilege. And he was telling me how he prioritized my own meeting for that other powerful person. You see? It's not about the money. I'm not as rich as the two of them, But the person prioritized my own meeting me. Why? Because you understand the principle of win-win. And there's never been a time I go meet this person that I don't come with a gift. In fact, the last meeting, I went with a very good tailor. You know, I said, oh, I brought this tailor to sew you some suit. There's no time. Because I have never asked for money. But the relationship alone, I know people who have reached out to me and say, oh, by the way, I did some business with your company because I was with this person and he spoke so highly of your company. And I said, no, I must do business. And the volume of transaction those people did is far more than what a man would have given me as a gift, no matter what. No matter how much he cared about me. Are we learning here?
Yes.
So I've learned over time that the biggest thing to get from a rich man is not his money. Number one is his knowledge. Number two is the association. That you are even with the person. Some people will consider you. Just a picture of the person. Just that you have access to the person. I know how many people would tell me, you know, I remember a lady who went to university together. So we've not been together for years. We're meeting, I think, after 15 years. Okay, so we took picture. And, you know, I think I posted on my page and she posted it. Only for her to call me back and say, I didn't know you are this powerful. People were reaching out to me all over the world. How I saw you with this man. Are you close to him? Can I get his contact? Like, she said, I've become a celebrity. But that's part of the benefits of building relationship with wealthy people. It's not their money you need. You need what they know. And then you need that you are associated with them. The money you're looking for will come on its own accord. Am I making sense at all?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
So we're doing a project in Katy, Houston. In the next 7 years, 5 to 7 years, we'll be needing about $100 million to do. And all I am doing, I kid you not, typically I know very powerful rich people. And I have two options. It's either to go and meet them and say, hey, I'm doing this development in Houston. I'm going to be building between 400 and 500 houses. Can you come and invest? But of course I know the answer. Once I begin to beg, I've reduced my value with them. Now see what I'm doing the other way around. Number one, I fix a conference, hosting them to come and speak to my investors at the conference. Wow. And you know what's funny? Virtually all of them, once I say, hey, we just got this 40-acre property, I'll be doing this, I would love for you to come and speak to my investors, we're doing this. First thing, congratulations. Oh, it's tight, but I'll consider I have to come.
Those ones you're speaking to,
They're
you want them
rich
to also
people.
invest? No. Okay.
My goal is not that they invest.
Okay.
That they identify with the project, the investors will come. And if they now on their own decide to now say, oh, I want to put my money, let it be so, but not me asking them. Are we learning now?
Yes.
We're talking about billionaire habits. Habits of billionaires. Okay? Are we learning at all? Because typically, even typically by their appearance, they've endorsed the project. And every other investor even feels they probably have put in their money. But even if they didn't put their money, more people are more comfortable to say, for this person to identify with this project, for this person to identify with this project, there's something here. I mean, I know a gentleman who knows this principle. Of course, you know, we've met just once, but I'm not sure if you read my book, but he knows the principle. He just launched an hotel in Lagos. You know, he's trying to make a boutique hotel. And guess what he's done? About 2 former presidents of Nigeria, he hosted them for the launch. The governor, the current vice president, a lot of high net worth people, right? Hosted them at the lunch. I am very sure he handled their logistics, probably gave them a free night. They didn't give me a dime. But guess who we want to lodge in such hotel? After former presidents have been there.
Hey.
You see, somebody else, all is busy about is, oh, how do I convince former president to invest? Or call some people to come and invest. You see how what we're thinking is even shallow because you can get more. What? Read more in the book. How many of you agree that this is a book you must read?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay? Because these are just tips we're looking at. We've not even gone deep, but we just are. There's so much to talk about. So under the billionaire habit around win-win relationship, make sure that you make positive corrections if you must make when you start building those relationships. Number 2, avoid gossip. Right? And what am I saying? Sometimes people build relationship with wealthy people or successful people or powerful people, right? And you begin to get toxic or knowing. Maybe that's even your culture. You just, oh, this is bad, this is not good, this is not... And then you talk like that around them. Many of them are used to positive environment, positive conversations, right? And if you now become friends, even if you correct, be positive about the way you go about it. Yeah, oh, sir, I think we could do this. Be positive about it. Number 2, avoid gossip. So I've seen people who just call me and say, see what this person has been saying about you. See, in my mind, first of all, for you to have settled down with the person to discuss this about me, you both are the same. Right? You both are the same. Because I would rather prefer that the person said this about me, you defended me. Years later, I'm meeting the same person who was saying negative, and he said to me, one day I was saying something negative about you, and I was shocked that this person shut me down and defended you with everything. I would prefer that, are we together now? Than for you to go, hey, see what this one has said, see what these people wrote about you, see what this one said. It's their opinion, they're entitled to it. What's your own opinion? That you're even bringing to me, don't tell me you are believing them. Because that's how it sounds, right? Yeah, that's how it sounds. Like, you're coming here, see what they wrote about you, see what they said about you. See, now, if it's positive, then we can relish it, right? And all talk about it. But if it's negative, right? Answer, be careful about this person who has been saying bad things about you. I don't need that. Please note it as you work with high-profile people. Right? Is this helpful?
Yes, yes.
So book number 3 we're reviewing is called The Billionaire Code. Those of you on Instagram, we have more people on Instagram. If it's helpful, just type, this is helpful. Come on, I want to be sure you're also getting value, those of you joining us virtually. This is the Billionaire Habit book series signing, live here in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, we have all my Swiss African here. Okay, so we have the Billionaire codes. And here we want to look at some codes. First code is the code of confidence. Everybody say code of confidence.
Code of confidence.
Right? And I think we have it in one of the chapters. The confidence code. Let me see whether I can see which chapter. If you see which chapter it is, you can let us know. Because unfortunately we didn't number the book. The confidence code is a very important one. I've said this over time, that it is always very difficult to know who is rich and who is poor by looking at them. But one sure thing that guarantees a rich man, there's a level of confidence rich people, just bring to the table. Now, hear this, and for particularly those of you from Africa, if you're not careful, you will term it as pride, and you will lose such relationship.
Part three.
Yeah, part 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Part 3, I'm not sure I've seen it. Part 3. Are we together now?
Yes.
So if you're not careful, particularly because remember we come from a culture, and our culture is quite different. In Africa, and I tell people, timidity is called humility in Africa, which is pure nonsense. Right? Timidity is not same as humility. Being timid. And I see people do that to me often. You know, I'm from the Yoruba tribe, so we don't look at people and greet them. We take a bow, so that's okay. But if all through the conversation, you know, you can't even look at me in the face and talk to me, you know, make your conversation boldly, and you know, I'm beginning to get worried. What's really wrong with you? Right? And if you have come from that background where everybody always talk in a timid way, when you then meet people who are very confident, how are you today? You know, they're bold, they speak loud, and you say, see him, he's so arrogant, see the way he was walking all through the room, as if he's the owner of Switzerland. Okay? Right? Meanwhile, that's not the case. He just knows who he is, he knows what he does, and he's being firm. Does it make sense at all?
Yes.
For example, I don't do African time. And it's not even because I'm trying to be unreasonable. I'm a very busy man. Right? I may be here in Switzerland, but I have assignments in Dubai, I have assignments in Nigeria, I have assignments in the UK, I have assignments in the US. And I have to attend to those things. Right? So if you invite me for an event and it starts late and I walk out, I'm not being rude. Are we learning at all? Yeah. It's not being rude. So we must begin to learn these things, because if we don't, we will not understand what to expect from very successful people. And then when we see certain things, we consider it arrogance and all of that. Now, another thing is also that billionaires, remember this is billionaire code, isn't it?
Yes.
One of the code that will make them know that you're somebody you should do business with is your confidence. How confident are you? So you have to begin to work on it. Some of us who probably don't have that background, you have to work on it. Now, there's a difference between pride and confidence. Two different things. So who can tell us the difference? What's the difference? Those of you on IG, please, I want to hear your opinion as well. What's the difference between being confident and being proud?
Being confident, I think it's also related to your level of knowledge. Once you know what you're going for, then you're able to express it. It shows how confident you are. But pride also follows